Something is going on with the school at Capitol High. An investigator came from far and wide to investigate what was going on. The school was very, very brown. Long hallways and a very prestigious look to it. Nobody walked up to him and introduced him to anybody. Nobody said a word, but they all knew he was there. They just didn't really acknowledge him until he opened his mouth. Everybody had a way of pushing him away without really saying very much. As the day goes on, he begins to talk to the kids. "How do your teachers treat you?" he asked the little girl. She didn't really have very much to say. Well, I guess I pretty much, I'm just here. Her stammering and her procrastination made him wonder if he was talking to the right student. Some kids are just naturally really, really shy, especially around a 6'8" bald guy that's in a long, long trench coat, wondering what's happening in the school. So his next decision was to talk to a little boy. "Hey, what do you think our school is about?" the little boy started off saying. The investigator said, "Well, that's not why I'm here. I'm here to know what's going on with you." He looked around, twiddled his pencil a little bit, as if he was looking to see if someone else was standing there. "Well, I do not like Miss Agnes. She's really mean to me. She's always yelling at us." "So, why is she always yelling? Do you know why she's always yelling?" "Not really." And then he gave me a stare that said the exact opposite of what just came out of his mouth. As the day went on, people began to wonder where Miss Agnes was. Everybody had a way of not really saying that they were looking for her, but their body language, you could tell they were looking for somebody. The investigator couldn't find what he was looking for at the time, so he began to look outside of the school. He began to look at the park, to look at the doors and the numbers on the doors. 531. That was the room he had just left. He walks out of the school and he sees the woods. And he was wondering if anyone was in those woods, because the woods was right by the park. And he didn't see any teachers that was outside of the school. But he saw all of the kids. So much for supervision, he thought. So he was in the woods and he began to roam. Miss Agnes was there, but the investigator did not know. The investigator started to hear like a chatter almost a chant, words he couldn't quite understand, very Aramaic, very foreign, very ancient. What the investigator didn't know was that Miss Agnes was the one chanting. Her eyes were injured, and she was laying next to a tree. Lots of broken stones, except for one that was in the riverbank by the cave. Miss Agnes was the one chanting, and as time went on, after she was done chanting, she said, "Keep my secrets. I don't want anybody to know what happened." And there was a big, big light that floated through her throat, out of her mouth, and found its way through the woods to the statue in the riverbank. And the statue awoke and began to move. The statue moved, got up out of the water, along with something else. A long, prickly creature that began to wander out of where it was and crawl. A long, long, prickly nose. And just like Agnes's eyes were injured, so was the creature. And it began to wander and had very, very sharp teeth, looking for someone.